was the smartest person you ever met? How did you know? The top ranker from the university in India where I graduated. The entrance exam is by far the toughest in India, and he scored nearly full marks on it. He graduated with a CGPA that was nearly perfect, like 9.99, 10. Went on graduate from Stanford with a PhD, was CTO in Voodoo etc. I have never seen such a quick mind. One hand he could do complex calculations in his head, on the other abstract concepts in math and physics would come so easily to him. In national level crossword puzzles he would be streets ahead of the rest of the competition. And also a very nice person. I don't know the details like if he graduated early or whatever, but in college a high school senior was in my calculus 3 class. A little bit into the first class we noticed he wasn't taking notes. The professor even asked him if he needed a pen or something. He was a goofy awkward kid, but kind of endearing. He said he didn't need to take notes and we all kind of laughed a little. The professor said well okay, but I really suggest you take notes, and continued the class. This kid never took notes. Didn't even bring a notebook to class, but got 100% on every assignment and test. I swear you could see him just absorbing the information. He would sit there fidgeting with his hands working things out. The professor would give us a problem on the board expecting us to take some time to work it out. The kid would stare at the board for 30 seconds, raise his hand, and have the correct answer. The first few classes it was kind of annoying, but then it became just impressive. I sometimes wonder where that he is now. A friend of mine I met when I was his manager, and he was a delivery driver. He was just there to put himself through school. He was one of those computer nerds that just loved everything about computers. As soon as he encountered one as a kid, he learned all the computer languages he could get a hold of. None of those for dummies books. He was fair beyond competent by the time he graduated high school, and was obviously looking towards a career in the field. Even though he had the knowledge, no one was going to look at him without some sort of degree, thus the delivering pizzas to get through school thing. As soon as he had the paper, he was snapped up by a relatively local company and went to work designing software technologies. He's since worked for various companies and makes a very comfortable living. The computer bit isn't even the thing that makes him smart. I know a lot of incredibly smart people, including 2 legit geniuses. This guy just has a way of grasping what you say on an intuitive level pretty much as soon as you say it. This is the kind of guy who will never tell you he's got a high IQ or even bring it up. He doesn't have to. You couldn't talk with him for but a few sentences before it's obvious. The best part is that he's also quite socially adept and hilarious in conversation, none of that awkward genius routine. Classmate in law school, had a PhD in science with kids from grade school, got highest exam on bar, highest grades in law school. He was a very sweet person. The way he answered questions, it was entirely obvious he was an absolute genius. He respectfully answered questions without coming across as a know-it-all. Everyone annoys me, but this guy was an angel, a term one of his employers' my older cousin used. Smart guy, started a law firm, and is kicking butt. Not much compared to others, but 2 of my friends are really smart. One of them got a master's from Oxford University in advanced mathematics. They contacted him to offer him a place. He's a wealth management consultant in London now, and married to a consultant and anesthesiologist. Another friend was a chief financial officer for a bespoke holiday company at the age of 26. Super smart. I knew he would be successful when he memorized every special move for every character on Tekken as a kid and was unbeatable. Not bad considering we are from a small rural town. I got to meet Bill Gates. He was tuned out, but if you said something smart, he would suddenly focus on you and hone in on what you were saying. Like a listening device that seems like furniture until you awaken it. So sharp. A kid 2 grades below me is super intelligent. He's allergic to a lot of food items though. We always joked he dumped all his skill points into intelligence and none into basic life function. My dad grew up in poverty, won scholarships to top universities, studied engineering. So intelligent that he dreamed in mathematical equations. But so kind. that everyone loved to be around him, and most had no idea of the scope of his intellectual and professional accomplishments. He died 2 weeks ago unexpectedly. The literal international outpouring from his colleagues and childhood friends was astounding. I will miss him for my whole life. Edited to add, my dad taught me calculus, imaginary numbers, physics, how to play beer pong, and how to know when to dump my lame boyfriend. He was always at the forefront of technology, but didn't quite understand Reddit. He would be bemused and skeptical to know this is my top Reddit comment to me. It seems totally fitting. Sounds cheesy, but my father used to hold the world record for the most top grades ever received in the 80s. Britain's education system is different now, and once won all the subject prizes apart from one at his school. There were prizes for the person who received the top mark in each subject, and the only one he didn't win was geography, and went to a top exclusive grammar school. Then went on to be awarded a full scholarship to Cambridge, the joint best university in the UK with Oxford, and got a job in a pretty high bank as soon as he graduated. However, socially he is extremely awkward and was recently diagnosed as autistic, which explains a lot of his personality. As if it wasn't for my mother and his hobby of playing chess, which my mum pushed him to join a club, he wouldn't have any friends. However, my mum makes up for it by making him socialize with her friends' husbands, who are his sort of friends. My grandpa. He dropped out of high school when he was 17 and was very much a basic blue-collar man. But my god, he was smart. I was struggling with a trig problem once when I was in high school, and he just picked up the book, read the example instructions, and solved the problem for me in 10 minutes and explained it to me. He also solved 100 levels of Unblock Me in like an hour when I showed him the game for the first time. I always wondered what he could have done if he'd had the support when he was younger to go college. One of my friend's daughter, when she was 3 years old, her parents were both doctors, and I'm certain she must be a genius. At 3 years old she was speaking to me like she was an adult, and when she said some word I assumed a 3-year-old wouldn't know. She caught the surprised look on my face and assumed I didn't understand the word, so she said, "Oh, that means." This was 8 years ago, so I don't remember exactly what was said. She just seemed like one of those kids who would be taking college courses at 12. My uncle. He's Good Will Hunting smart. Never went to college, but can solve any puzzle, work any math you place before him, fix cars, and has excellent recall. And with Coke bottle glasses, even in his 70s, can shoot a bottle cap off a fence post with a .22 pistol from 50 yards away, first shot every time. If years from now we find out he was some kind of CIA assassin, I'd believe it. His intelligence is terrifying. I had a 3rd grade student I was assigned to work with for 2 weeks, but it turned into a 2-month job. Kid was diagnosed with autism, and it was pretty severe, and he had some strong paranoia and sensory issues that were never resolved because mom refused all forms of help. He would throw things if he got something wrong. Anytime someone was laughing, he thought it was about him, and he chopped his food up as much as possible because his preferred way of eating was for things to essentially be blended. He also read at a high school level, was able to master any mathematic concepts taught to him. I think we got up to algebra and somewhat difficult geometry in my time with him. In no math whiz. Extremely intuitive with languages, and broke apart words into their smaller pieces based off of instruct. Loved Latin for this reason. Crushed any video game you put in front of him, and had absolute perfect pitch. By far the most intellectually capable person I've ever met. I haven't seen him in years, and I really hope a system his mom came to understand his potential. One of my best friends who recently committed suicide. Brilliant interventional radiologist. Trained at Johns Hopkins. Good at everything he tried. Memorized the lyrics to thousands of songs and quotes from hundreds of movies. Taught himself guitar and drums. Knew all there was to know about fishing and marine life. Amazing focus and observation skills. Also loved to party and enjoy life. I will miss him dearly. My dad. Went to Harvard from a small farming town of 200 people. Read more books about more topics than I could ever count. Resume 4 pages long. But never, ever treated a person like they were dumb, or that he was better than them. could teach anything to any person of age and have them understand it without being condescending in the slightest. That's what made him smarter than anyone I had ever met. He's incredibly well read, instantly grasps logical progressions, and is totally unassuming. He'll treat everyone he meets as an intellectual equal and will fill them in on any details they don't know without being condescending. Not sure how to describe it, except that he's intellectually generous, willing to talk and listen about anything, and will have a depth of background to draw from. I got pretty sick in 2012. A month in hospital, 3 days in resus, narrowly avoided being intubated and put in the ICU. Thankfully, the heart doctors said it was my heart. The lung doctors thought it was my lungs. Liver docs and kidney docs all had a go. There was one doctor who finally sorted them all out. He was like some kind of guru. He had an amazing presence. The students and the other doctors doted on his every word. When he spoke to me, I was so glad he was on my side. Hard to describe, but guru sums it up. He exuded such calm and wisdom. And he's probably the reason I'm alive today. You kind of knew that he was something special. I have a friend who I met during my A-levels. We both studied graphic design and computing. The man is a straight up wizard as far as I'm concerned. During our A-levels he didn't like the programming language we were being taught, or decided that it wasn't suitable for his project, so he went and taught himself a different one for the exam. And passed well. He also got a first at uni, I believe. Meanwhile I got exactly 1 mark in my programming exam, because I'm basically retarded. He now works on software for medical radiology or some shit like that. And there doesn't seem to be a computer-based problem that he can't solve. He's that level of intelligence that relishes a challenge. So if there's a problem that's proving to be a cunt, he won't give up until he solved it. I ended up as a graphic designer because it's a job that can be done by half-eaten corned beef sandwich. Really, the clincher for me that he is the smartest person I've met is that I genuinely have admiration for him. I'm a rotten bastard, so except for family I give myself little time to admire or respect other people, so the fact I do so is pretty telling. My brother likes to give him shit for being a bit of a stereotype for programmers, underweight, pen as duck, etc. And normally I'll join in with a piss take as quick as anyone. But I will absolutely defend this cunt for hours. He's also a really nice dude. I just kind of hope he doesn't see this post, because I have a reputation to uphold as a miserable prick. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.